What is up, guys, and I want to welcome each and every one of you back to a new video. I am Reese Gaming, and in this one we're going to be talking about some of the Hearthstone news that's happened over the last few days, and then once we've gone through that, we're going to go off on a little tangent and I'm going to throw a classic Reese Gaming top 10 at you, so look forward to that. But let's jump straight into the news, and we're going to start with this. So, Play Hearthstone dropped a little video on their Twitter. It was also dropped on YouTube, probably dropped elsewhere as well. But in the video, we see this character stood in the woods amongst a load of sort of beasts. Not entirely sure what they are. I don't play World of Warcraft, so I won't go into too much detail, but I thought it would be a good place to start. Obviously, this is a leak or a teaser towards the newest expansion that should be coming out sort of end of March, early April. So yeah, we're going to find out more about this on Friday with BlizzConline, and I'm really excited. But I think very quickly talking about it, the fact the video ends with the Horde symbol, I think is super exciting for the game. I think Hearthstone over the years has sort of steered away from the sort of darker themes. Naxxramas was quite nitty gritty, but we sort of steered away from that, and we've gone a bit more, let's just say, children's card game. It's kind of more friendly for that, but I'm all about if we're going to go a little bit more, a little bit more rough. I think I'm okay with that. I think the idea of like a Horde set would be super cool in Hearthstone. Maybe we'd get a Sylvanas reprint. Let's see. But yeah, I thought it was a good place to start. So let's go. Keep on moving through. About 4 days ago, we got this tweet from Alec as well, from the dev team, saying, had a great meeting this week where we reverted or partially reverted some nerfs for rotation. It'll be more aggressive than the years past, with a lot of cards rotating, so expect a high number of changes. And he's putting brackets around 30. Should be fun. So, as I'm sure you're all aware, we do have the end of the year coming up. So it'll be, like I said, end of March, early April. And with that new year, we'll see the oldest year of the oldest year, so which will be the dragon. The whole year of the dragon will be rotated for wild. We'll be left with the year of the phoenix and our brand new set and our brand new core set. So there's going to be a lot of cards rotating out and a lot of change coming up as well. So I think going off this, we're super excited. Obviously, we know Blizzard have made changes before to nerfs, so like Sludge Slurper, it was nerfed and then reverted back to its 2-1 state. So we know that Blizzard don't mind doing this, and I'm really excited to see what they do. I'm getting the idea with 30 that we're probably going to see a lot of wild cards reverted as well, and a lot of them, a lot of those changes are probably going to be in the basic and classic set as well, because a lot of the basic and classic are being rotated out for the first time since the launch of the game. So I think we're going to see a lot of the basic and classic sets get replaced back to the original states, just so we can finally play with those cards again and get the sort of, you know, fresh feel and that sort of what do they say, yesteryear, I think that's what they say, sort of feeling with those decks. So that's quite exciting. Honourable mentions, we're going to be starting our top 10 list of cards that I think should be reverted back to their original states. Now, this is my top 10, but please do let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the card choices in this. Obviously, as you know, I've hit Legend once, so I'm not really thinking about this as sort of a competitive level, more just for the enjoyability of the game, which is why I play Hearthstone every day. So let's get into some honourable mentions before we get to top 10, and we're going to start with Equality. Now, Equality used to be a 2-mana spell. So the old Equality used to change the health of all minions to 1, just as it does now, but it used to cost 2. This was obviously reverted due to the fact of how powerful it was in the classic set, and how every paladin list, every sort of control / mid-range paladin list would just go to this as a good and a strong card to play for an answer for big boards. But I think with this potentially being put into wild and left there, I think we should be okay putting it back to 2 mana. I think Paladin at the moment in wild is kind of seen as like the aggressive class, and I think we need to kind of steer it away, give it some sort of tools to help it push Paladin in a different direction. I think reverting Equality back to 2 would be a good place to start. Next one, Ancient Allure, 7 mana 5/5. It currently reads, choose 1, draw a card, or 5 health. Yeah, it's a joke. 7 mana 5/5, draw 1, or restore 5. Okay, that's ridiculous. We need to revert it. You revert it back to its original state. It was reverted, it was nerfed from draw 2 or restore 5. People, like, when this was when this was in Standard, sort of, I think this was before Wild and Standard even went their separate ways. This was what, like, almost in the core game. Ancient Lore was seeing a lot of Druid decks. It was ramped into with 2-mana Wild Growth. It was ramped into with cheaper Nourish, and then obviously dropped to refill your hand, which was really strong back then. But let's not forget, we have, for example, 1-mana Draw 4 with Secret Passage. We have 0-mana Draw 2 with Cutting Class. I think 7-mana Draw 2. I think we're okay with that in Standard now, or even in Wild. I think we're okay with that, and I think, yeah, we should really revert Ancient Lore, because that card is a bit of a laughing joke. So, a laughing joke. Not sure that's really what I meant, but let's start the top 10, and let's start this top 10 with a controversial one. Undertaker. I'm going to get rinsed in the comments for this one, but it's a 1-mana 1/2, and whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain +1 attack. That's what it says in its current form. It used to read this, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. Now, I think we're in a place now with Hearthstone that we're okay with a card like this, especially in Wild, because how many 1-drop Death Rattle minions are you really worried about? I can't even think of one on the top of my head. Like, you used to run sort of Lepinomes and, you know, the 2-mana 1/2 Spider from Naxxramas as your 2-drop. There was really not that many 1-drop Death Rattles that you were consistently dropping. I know Web Spinner saw play back then as well, but when have those cards ever seen play in Wild? We are way past that point of just playing 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. We're kind of past that now. We're more combo driven, and I think I can't really see a 1-mana Death Rattle card from the past, or even any. None of them are springing to mind. I just can't see Undertaker becoming a huge problem in Wild. So I think we're okay to revert Undertaker. I might be wrong. I might get rinsed in the comments, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm oblivious to some sort of combo that I'm not thinking of. But all right, number 9. Galakron's Rogue. Yeah, this card was gutted because of Standard. As a Wild player, again, this was one that we never really got a chance to play with because Standard abused these cards a lot quicker than Wild. It takes Wild a lot longer to sort of come up with combos and you know, decent decks. Yeah, this card is obviously really powerful in Standard, but with the fact it's rotating out of Standard now and it's going Wild exclusive, I would like to see this card reverted. I think it's a good card. I think cards that have huge mana cheat like this are good for Wild Hearthstone. It keeps the sort of, you know, like Raza Priest, keeps them from being really strong, because Raza Priest has a lot of mana reduction, and Quest Mage has a lot of mana reduction, and all these other decks. Having more like this in other classes helps sort of keep them in check, I would say. So yeah, Galakron, going back to the cards it draws, going back to 0, I think it's good for the game, and it keeps Rogue, pushes Rogue in a different direction. Rogue is very Kingsbane heavy right now, and I think pushing Galakron, because I think Galakron sort of helps push combo decks like Malagos. So I think pushing Rogue in a different direction than Kingsbane is good for the format. So yeah, let's go into number 8. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. This is still one of my favourite cards ever printed. It feels good, it feels fun. But what doesn't feel fun is the fact they cost 1. So you've got to wait 9 turns, which is a lot for Wild Hearthstone. And then you can't play the dragons that you get. So I'm hoping this gets reverted. Obviously, this is another card that's getting pushed out of Standard into Wild exclusive in the new year. So I'd like to see Dragon Queen Alexstrasza get reverted. But let me just expand on this. It was nerfed twice, I think. Or it might be nerfed twice at the same time. It used to be able to find itself. So Dragon Queen used to be able to get copies of herself in that pool. I think it's probably healthy that we keep her out of her own pool so she can only find other dragons that cost 0 and not herself. But I think, yeah, I think this is a really good change for Wild. It would help push. It would probably go back in Reno decks. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza sees no play in any Reno decks, really. I don't think it even sees play in Reno Mage, which is kind of sad. I think once it goes back, yeah, if it goes back to they cost 0, it will see play again in Reno Mage, Reno Lock. I can't see why it wouldn't. So yeah, Dragon Queen, I really hope it does get reverted in this bulk revert patch, whatever we want to call it. Alright, number 7, bit of a weird one, this one. This is a card that's probably been forgotten about, honestly, but I've been playing a lot of this card on the ladder trying to make it work. Obviously, you can catch all that on my streams. I'm streaming basically every day on my Twitch. Top link in my description. Really trying to get myself back into a flow of streaming. So, yeah, if you want to see me playing Caverns Below in 2021, come join me. Top link in the description. But yeah, Caverns Below. Play 5 minions with the same name. Reward Crystal Core. The Crystal Core, in its current form, is for the rest of the game, your minions cost 4. But let's go on with this. It used to be play 4 minions with the same name, and the Crystal Core would make your minions 5/5s. Now, I think 4 cards with the same name and 5/5s is a little bit overkill, and I think that is too easy to complete and too oppressive. So, I think if we find a middle ground with play 4 of the same name and 4/4s, I think that's basically in check with a lot of what other combo decks are doing. I can't really see. I think that would be a fine change. And I think it's definitely one they've probably got an eye on. This card was definitely loved by the community years ago, but it's kind of been forgotten about. Makes me think whether with this massive revert list, this might get thrown into it. But yeah, we'll see. I would love to see Caverns Below reverted. It's still one of I love Rogue, and I love the idea of bouncing things back and forth. And yeah, I think it's a really, really cool, and I think it's a really well designed quest. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but yeah, I would really like to see this card reverted. To be honest, with this new revert bulk. Right, number 6. So my whole number 6 is made up of quite a few cards, and it's basically all for Shaman. I think Shaman is in a bit of a tough place in Wild at the moment, so let's go into that. Let's start with Flametongue Totem. It was nerfed from its 2-drop state, so it used to be a 2-mana 0/3, which was really oppressive at the time. So you used to play like a Pirate on 1. It would draw patches from your deck, and then you would slam the Flametongue between them, and yeah, it would be really, really fast and really, really aggro. And where my heart sits with Flametongue Totem, I get worried because of Even Shaman, and that's why for me, I put a cross through it. I think Even Shaman. I think if Even Shaman is good, it's really good, but it always drops in and out of the meta. And I think if we give it Flametongue Totem alongside Splitting Axe and all of the totem buffs, yeah, I think we're in Pooh Street, to be honest. So yeah, I think Flametongue should stay. I put it in this because I know a lot of people would probably bring it up if I was to talk about Shaman. So, but let's go into this one. Tuskar Totemic. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me, but I think we should revert Tuskar Totemic. Now, I know the game has changed since this was made. At the time this was nerfed because of it would be a feels bad moment when you played against someone playing this and they summoned a Totem Golem. Yeah, the 2-mana 3/4. Now, I know we have bigger totems in the game right now. We have Goliath and the Circus Amalgadon thing. Amalgam, Circus Amalgam, yeah. So I know we've got those in the game, but I think Shaman needs a little bit of sort of that mid-range support. It really does Curbstone basically really well, and I think we should help Shaman do that. And I think a card like Tuskar Totemic would be fine for the game. Honestly, I really think that. Yeah, I think it's fine. I quite like the idea of aggro just bored Shaman, not doing anything stupid and ridiculous with spells and 0 mana this, 0 mana that, like most of the classes are in Wild. I just like the idea of Shaman just playing something on 1, something on 2, something on 3. Like, Shaman does Curbstone really well, and I think we need to go. I just we need to give it a hand, honestly. Like, Shaman just doesn't see play at all really in Wild, apart from Big Shaman. And yeah, you know how I feel about Big Shaman if you watch my streams, so let's not go into that. Alright, Rock Biter Weapon. In its current form is 2 mana. It doesn't really see play. I think if we bring it back to 1, we're onto something. I think 1 mana Rock Biter was always strong. I never thought it was busted. I just think it was good. So I would like to see a change to Rock Biter. And then we've got Spirit Claws as well. So this is just a 2 mana 1/3 weapon. Kind of boring on its own, but when it was a 1-drop, we were loving life. So this on 1 was really good, and I know this is a bit of a meme, and I love is it Odd Shaman? Yeah, Odd Shaman. I think if we were to make this, revert this, play this on 1, and then guaranteeing we pick the spell damage minion on turn 2. If this is a 1 mana 3/3 weapon, that's really good for Wild. So I'd like to see Spirit Claws potentially reverted coming up in the new revert thing. Right, number 5, Warsong Commander. Yes, so Warsong has been on a little bit. He's been on a bit of an adventure in his lifetime, but I think the one that everyone remembers is the one on the right here, Warsong Commander. Whenever you summon a minion with 3 or less attack, give it charged. And when they nerfed Warsong Commander to your charge minions have 1 attack, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was absolutely just like devastated. Like it's just such a stupid nerf. What you can see from this nerf is they just didn't want this sort of card to exist. They could have made it 4 mana, 5 mana, but it doesn't fix what the card does. So you can tell that they weren't happy with this card, so they just completely gutted it. But for me, I think Grim Patron would be fine in Wild to this day. There's decks that did what Grim Patron did faster. So, you know, Grim Patron used to go off on like turn 8, turn 9 with Emperor Thaurissan, Tick as well. So I think, you know, seriously, like there's a lot of decks that do things faster and draw and combo faster, so I think Grim Patron would be okay. And what my opinion is, the Warsong Commander and Grim Patron was never the problem. It was Frothing Berserker that was the problem, because that would be the one that would get huge with the amount of Grim Patron spawning. I think Grim Patron was so cool in Wild though, especially with Risky Skipper and stuff. So yeah, that's one to think about. Right, number 4, another controversial one, but I want to see Aviana go back to 9. No cap. I think combo Druid. I just think Druid is where I think combo should be Druid's thing. It has ramp and big things. Aviana was so good, and it just makes so many decks viable. And I think I would love to see Aviana get reverted, just straight up. Honestly, I think just a good card, very strong card. Actually, I won't lie. Let's not beat around the bush. Very strong card, but it's wild. Oh, I shouldn't say it like that. It's wild, because that's what gets people tilted. But Gadgets and Auctioneer. Right, number 3. I'm going to put all of this on screen for this one, because I want to make... It's not like a certain somebody, but I want to make something great again. Miracle Rogue. Where has that deck gone? It was my favourite deck when I got into the game, and it just doesn't see play anymore in Standard or Wild. Now, where do we point the finger? Was it because of the Gadgets and Auctioneer nerf? Or was it because of the Preparation nerf? To me, it sits with these 2 cards. That's why I put them all up in one. So, Gadgets and Auctioneer first. It was obviously put up to 6 from 5 quite early on in Hearthstone's years. But I think a card like Gadgets and Auctioneer never really sees play in Wild. I think putting it at 5 would probably be problematic long term. But I think it's fun for the format. You know, it makes other decks that are spell slinging. It's another option for them, and I think Gadgets and Auctioneer would be really, really fun to play in Wild. And Preparation is another really interesting one for me, because obviously Preparation in its current form of making an X-Spell cost 2 less, obviously that is balanced. Like, it still sees competitive play in Wild, but I think we should really consider putting it back to its original state. I know I have a lot of fond memories of, you know, playing Gadgets and Auctioneer into Preparate into Phantom Knives. Like, there's so many so many things you can do with the Preparate in its old form. But for me, I just think I'm all about steering classes away from, you know, steering classes into a different style of gameplay. Like, Rogue it's just fallen into Kingsbane Rogue. And I think, like, Rogue has so many tools. We need to just revert some cards, make some changes, and push classes into other directions. So instead of, you know, just Kingsbane Rogue, let's find Miracle Rogue, let's find Death Rattle Rogue, let's all these other things. Let's, you know, help the other decks, you know, become other things. Call to Arms. It sees almost 0 play at its 5-drop cost, but then saw ridiculous amount of play at 4. So Call to Arms is probably an issue, not gonna lie. But like I said, I think Wild has sped up. That Call to Arms probably wouldn't be as abused as a lot of people think it is. I think decks it helps are decks like Even Paladin, or like this mid-range Paladin. Like, it will never see play in like Mech Paladin, for example, or maybe not even Libran Paladin, because it sort of negates the 1-drop Libran thing. It's going to bring something new into the game, I think, with Call to Arms being reverted, which I think I'm all for. I know in its past it used to pull out like Dirty Rats and Loot Hoarders and other decent 2-drops. It used to be really good actually in like Secret Paladin with like Knife Juggler, which was really cool. So I think like Call to Arms, I think we're at a point now with like I said in the game where Call to Arms could be reverted and it wouldn't be abused. It just gets a lot of minions and a lot of stats down early, but so does Big Priest. So yeah, I would honestly, there's not many on this. Yeah, to be fair, like I said, this whole list is like I would love to see, but yeah, Call to Arms sits differently for me. I loved that card back then, and I would love to see it reverted. All right, number 1, top list, top card. Can we just talk about this card? 5 mana, 3/2, so it's very understated. And then whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. Now, I want to highlight the ability on this card. So whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. That text box, busted. Really, really powerful. But are we paying 5 mana for it on a 3/2 body? Probably not. So I want to see it fully reverted. Now, I know I almost hesitate saying it. I know it's going to be strong. 2 mana, 2/1, beast, summon something, draw a card. I know it's strong, but Hunter needs a card like this. Hunter sees no play at all in Wild. It's sometimes Arena Hunter, and people are trying to make Death Rattle Hunter work. But I don't know, Hunter just needs something in the game like this. This is a full-on card draw engine on its own with Master's Call, for example, and all the one-drop Alley Cats and Spring Paws. But I would personally just love to see this put into Wild. And the thing is about a card like this, if it is busted, just nerf it again. I think. Maybe, but we'll see. But yeah, Starving Buzzard, it needs to see the light of day again. This card was just like almost like Ancient Lord, just nerfed to the, like, what's the word, abyss, whatever. It was nerfed. I don't know why. It was just overly nerfed, and I think reverting it back to 2/1, 2 mana, 2/1 would be amazing for Wild. Also, it looks really nice in a new colour green, which is cool. But yeah, that does bring me to the end of my top 10 video. This went on for a lot longer than I expected, but I really do appreciate it if you did stick around and watched all of it. Make sure you do go check out all of my links in my description. You'll see my Twitch. I'm trying to stay daily on Twitch now, and you'll also see my Twitter in there as well. So yeah, please do go over and support me. I would really, really appreciate that. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.